Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So today, I think it is time to finish wrangling the competition, or the composition here. Yes, and not the competition. The composition. There's no competition going on here. We're just drawing a nice picture. So I kinda got some of my ideas down here. There's still a lot of empty space, and I'd like to start filling that in. I did some kinda quick and dirty things. And so now I think it's time to, start turning some of this on properly instead of using placeholders and actually get some of the colors going here. So let's see. Yeah, I think I'm just going to clear this. I'll still just block it in with the big texture brush. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing something similar to that at some point, but I would like get a better understanding of the colors I intend to use, how dense I would like the fog to be, and its general shape. I think I'm going to make it, less dense around her. And then I'll just make it a little thicker here and there. It'll probably be clearer when I actually go in and take the time to render it. But for the time being, I just need to get the gist down so that this way, let me back up and try to think about my words for a second here. But basically, at this stage, I think I have the majority of the pose down. There's some things that aren't tilted quite right, especially in like this hand, and none of the details around her shoulders are still a little wonky. So I will have to fix all those things. But even more important than that right now, at this moment, is I want to make sure that everything is positioned well. Right? And right now, I don't even think she is positioned well. If I were to explain why, if I were to take a line and run it from the top to the bottom here, it's like she's got a little bit of a twist here, so I think for her it'd be a little bit more like this. But it is still very parallel to the side here, and I don't know. I think I can do something a little bit more interesting than that. But I also just... I want to know how things are going to be looking. I want to know where the floor is. I need to know that because I plan on putting a magic circle there. Incidentally, I have not actually looked up the type of magic circle I want to draw for this yet, but it's not really that important. What's important is that I know it's there. And I do think it needs to be tilted more like this. And there's just lots of little things like that that I still just gotta figure out. And if I try to skip ahead and just render out the entire character before I know these things, I'm gonna be sad. Because, what if I have to move the character? What if there's just something not working, and I have to rework a bunch of stuff, and then suddenly I wasted a whole bunch of time trying to wrangle a bunch of stuff that just ended up not working out that way. And stuff like that is very common. Incidentally, this is also why I started painting in color. When I was a baby artist, I pretty much always started my paintings in black and white. And it honestly worked for me for a while. But I did find... I just decided to try it the other way at one point because I like colors, and I just wanted to kind of see if I could do it, and I could. And that was cool, and I actually found that my colors were a lot stronger when I was thinking about them from the beginning. So I just stopped doing a value underpainting first. Frankly, my values weren't good enough for it anyway. And adding color would always change my values considerably. So it just kind of worked out like this. Okay. So I wanted to add a little bit of blue to the sky. Make it a little bit more sky-like, I guess. I'm seeing if I want to turn down the opacity here, but I don't think I do. I think I put in a pretty good amount there. And it still kind of has its red undertones to it. I think it's very nice. Figuring out all of these lovely little things. There's always a lot to it. So I'm just figuring out where the lighter area should be, where these darker areas should be. Just all kinds of stuff. Trying things. Now I kind of want to make this moon glow. I do think I like the location of the moon. I don't think I want it to be any bigger or smaller than this. So I'll probably just leave it for now, but I do have this painted on a separate layer if I change my mind. So it'll be very easy to remove and move around. But I do think that that is looking pretty nice. We're just gonna make the moon glow a little bit. And I might even add some other colors to it. I don't know yet. I like to have the general gist of what I'm doing, but I don't feel the need to know every single little thing. Okay. And it is true, I might end up changing the size here because I'm realizing that I think I want part of this castle to be overlapping the moon. But I think I can do that kind of near her shoulder, and that'll still work out. Because I think I'm actually going to move Runie herself a little bit here. Just because, you know, like I said, I feel like she's a little bit too vertical. I have a bunch of stuff off canvas. Krita's funny in that it lets you keep stuff off the canvas, but it doesn't give you a way to show it. I wish it did. So sometimes I just gotta crop things. Oh man, I really don't want to crop it though. Okay, never mind. I really want to keep all my things. Okay. So we're just gonna deal with an annoying turn radius. Okay. So I just want to position her a little bit better here. Where she's maybe a little bit less straight. I'm deciding which direction I like. I could kind of go either way here. But this one, I do think has a certain charm to it. You'll find that often when I'm derping around with my free transform tool that I try a lot of different things. I'm trying to think how to describe the difference between these two directions. But I think unfortunately, it's one of those things that's just kind of intuitive for me. So, I think ultimately what I'm going to go with is I think I prefer this direction just a little bit here. And And the reason for that is I think I like having the extra space on this side. It makes the area around her look a little bit larger when she's not on the edge. So it'll just, I don't know, make the Spooky Kingdom here look like it's even bigger. I don't think I'm going to put more castle on this side. I'll probably put some other stuff over here. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be something. So yeah, I do think I prefer this direction. And as a result, I think I want the moon to move a little bit to the right, but not all the way to the edge. Not quite all the way to the edge. And I think this will join her over with the castle pretty well. And make the castle look a little bit less disconnected. I'm not sure if I want the castle to be parallel to the ground or not. That's something that's going to be really important to figure out. Because basically, the castle is going to represent the horizon line. And where it goes, it'll help determine where the ground is. Much like this magic circle here. That will also help determine where the ground is. I still don't quite know what I want the ground to look like. Okay, I better draw the rest of that. Fog is in the foreground. I need to hide it for a second to get my magic circle color here. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm just using a random hot pink, but I want it to be the same for when I colorize it later. I'm not sure what this is. Are you a magic circle bit? You are. Okay. Whoa, cool circle. Wow. Alright. I do think it'll look quite cool when it's done. But alright, now I gotta go with what I can draw. Or what's important. What I can draw in like 3 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna go move the moon over just a little bit. I did say it was entirely possible that I would move it just a little, so that is why I put that light on a different layer. I just want it to be a little bit more center on her head, but not completely center. Not completely. We gotta be a little asymmetrical here. Okay, and with that, I guess I'll let her hair hang down a little bit more. Drape on her shoulder a little bit still, but otherwise hang down. Okay, yeah, that seems pretty good. There, and now these shapes are merging just a little bit, which I do think makes the painting a little bit more cohesive. Alright, next thing I want to think about, the flow of the bats. So right now, they have... Let me draw a line here. If you connect kind of through them, it's kind of like this. And I'm thinking about how I want to use them to direct where people look. Where do I want people to look in the picture? And indeed, it's like I want most of the attention to be here. Everywhere else is going to be a little bit muted. So I'm thinking about how I want the viewer's eyes to move around this picture. I do not think I have enough information. The bats are a good idea, though. I just have to decide certain things before I can use them properly. Alright, let's go mess around at the castle then. So we got more castle here. I want to add... I'm gonna name you more castle. Okay. That tends to be how I name my layers. It's like, if I have things on multiple layers and I don't really know how to differentiate them, I'll call one layer, like, castle, and the other one, more castle. Clouds, and more clouds. Do I want this filled in? No, definitely not. But yes, I do like a little bit of the castle showing through here. I will probably look up a reference of Gothic architecture and find some nice shapes to use in there for now, but placeholder is fine for the time being. All right. I don't like the current location of a bunch of my clouds. So let me see, the things I really have to figure out here. What the heck am I gonna do with the ground? The magic circle helps, but I think it needs a little bit more, especially over here, very, very barren. And just, you know, I gotta figure out all the things that are going on here. What do I want to put over here? I'm gonna go ahead and texture the moon because it's easy and it makes me happy. So I'm just gonna do some quick stuff there. Typically, when I draw moons in a non-hard cel-shaded form, I just grab a brush and I actually really like Krita's watercolor brushes for this. Oh, I should not leave my big texture brush on addition if I'm not going to use it. That sounds like something that'll drive me crazy later. Anyway, oh yeah, I just gotta derp around for a bit. I don't personally think that brushes really matter that much, but they do kind of let you derp around a bit sometimes, so that's always nice. They can make your life easier, right? I do want a way to find a way to kind of incorporate things into my methods. But I don't think that they're especially relevant to artists that don't understand their process yet. So, you know, most beginners. Because it's like the idea is to kind of simplify things. Make it so you don't have to try as hard. But you can't really do that if you don't know what you're doing yet. Nothing wrong with experimenting, of course, but at that point it'll just be because you think it's fun. As opposed to it being anything, like, super useful. But there's nothing wrong with doing things because you think they're fun or should be fun. Nothing wrong with doing a little bit of derping around. Just trying to remember what kind of textures I like to put on moons. Where's my splatter brushes? Here we are. Let's see here. We're gonna put some craters in on this moon here. And I think I will hide the clouds for a bit because I will be moving those around. I can already tell. I'm not happy with their current location. And I used wrong splatter brush here. The one I was thinking of is actually the one next to it. Oh yeah, and if I'm not using you, I should set you back to normal. Okie dokie. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting some craters. Maybe I still use this one just a little bit. Okay. I do want the brightest points to be around her head. So I'm going to take some of that back out. And I think I've just used my airbrush at this point. I feel like things are textured enough here, so I can just kind of do what I want. I want you to be purpler. Okay, and that should be fine. If I want it to be more detailed later, I can do so. It's not that hard, but I think this is textured pretty okay. All right, let's move the clouds around. They'll get proper shadows at some point, so I'm not too worried about how they look. I guess I'll go ahead and just kind of brush over them a little, just so I can properly see the contrast that I'll be building up. So the bottom part will be a little bit darker than the top. And if I take this, just kind of brush over the parts that are going to be a little bit lighter. Yep. Should look pretty good once I actually render all that out. But it's good to check these things. I don't know what I want to do with you. I do feel like I need a cloud or something over there. But I don't like this one. I don't like sticking them up in the corner either. So I don't know what to do with you. I guess right there is okay. Alright, what do I do with you? I think part of the reason I might be bothered is just I need to give him a little bit more contrast too. This is Planckera's experimentation time, where I just test things and see how it works out. Like I said, this is the point where I create the world. This is the point where I make sure that I know what everything looks like and that I like it. And then I can start going in and making everything nice. So this is the point where I should know everything. And maybe I'll move stuff around, I often do. But in general, past a certain point, I should have a wrangle on where everything is going to be. And then at that point, it's just a matter of cleaning. It's like the last time I mostly focused on the pose, because I just had to get that down. It's pretty hard to wrangle your composition when you don't know what your focal point is going to look like. So, had to do that. But now that's done. So, now I gotta get the rest. Gotta get the rest. Okay, I think I'm gonna lighten up the moon just a little bit here. Just a little bit, and actually this cloud cannot be there. I do not want it next to her eyes. The difference in contrast between this part of the moon and this part of her face needs to be one of the strongest bits of contrast in the entire picture. Because that will draw the viewer's eyes to the character. And trust me, it'll help a lot. I mean, even this much is helping quite a bit, I think. So I want it to be overlapping the moon a little bit, but it absolutely cannot be here. Cannot. Meh. Meh. I'll use the airbrush to erase that part. All right. Take away a little bit over here. A little bit flatter on the bottom of most of these clouds. Makes them a little bit more cloud-like. Okay. I don't know, this still feels very horizontal. Okay, let me try to explain what I mean by that. So, I've got some of these clouds in here, right? And they're very ominous. I might go for a different kind of ominous cloud setup entirely, actually. But, still, to explain what's bothered me, it's like we got a cloud here, 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 right? This is very straight line. There's another one here that kinda helps, but it's just going whoop, whoop. Very, very parallel with the top of the screen. If I tilted it even just a little, like this, it's like it's a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting. But I don't know if I like these clouds at all. Because I had a thought. And, you know, it's always dangerous when I get thoughts. But, okay. This is where I check the references. So first I'm going to look at fog. And just kind of get the impression that I want. And yes, I do believe that the kind of creepy fog is less what I have and more stringy, right? That's the best way I can describe it. Like, don't worry, some ominous fog is kind of cloudy like what I have, but let me see. Ooh, a creepy lake might be cool. I do like lakes. I still don't know what to do with the ground, so while I'm here, I'm just kind of looking around for ideas, but I still not quite sure what I want to do now. Anywho, let's do some science with the fog. You're a blank layer that I was using to demonstrate something. Anyway, I am going to do some science, which means I'm going to make a new layer here. Let's see, do I want this kind of smudge? Yes, it's promising. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of brush over all of this. And make it more, like, wispy. I don't want to get rid of all the texture, but I do want to kind of get rid of a lot of it. Oh yeah, that actually looks really good. I'm gonna remove this layer because I realized that when I changed her position, I did not adjust the fog accordingly. So I should do that before I make it all wispy. So let's see. I want it a little bit less overlapping her here. And a little bit more in kind of some of these other places. But once I get that wispy shape to it, I think it'll look pretty neat. Let me go pull up that reference that I was like, oh yes, that is like perfect. There was one in particular. Oh yeah, here we are. Okay. So I kind of want a little bit kind of going out into the distance here. Just kind of gonna wrangle its entire shape. Get it just the way that I want here. Mostly just focused on where it's covering for the time being. Okay. I think that's pretty good. And now I will take that smudge tool. I'm still going to duplicate the layer because I'm scared. And when I have a duplicate like this, it means that if I mess something up, I can revert back to it. And it does seem like it'll be very, very easy to overdo smudging this. And if I am so inclined, I can even oversmudge this and overlay some more texture on it afterward. And that'll be easier to do if I have a backup. I can just do whatever I want and try things without fear. So let's just get her covered in ominous fog. Yeah, I like this though. It does look very interesting in my opinion. Okay, let me see. What does fog do? Okay. Fog, Fog doesn't change very much as it recedes into the background, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. It'll just kind of cover things. And it'll probably make the difference between a lot of the foreground elements and the further background elements much bigger. So I'll be sure to, fade colors and get that... we call it atmospheric perspective, where things in the background kind of get closer to the colors into the background. You see it a lot in mountains. But it can be used for a lot of things. Okay, and... I want to derp around again. It's like I've been sick, so it's kind of nice just to be able to derp around a little bit. Just to have some fun, you know? So I'm just adding some very light particles here and there. You can see they're not that big. But I do think that they are making the texture of the fog a little bit more interesting. And I'm pretty sure I could use any textured brush for this. I just kind of pick ones I like. I like Krita's watercolor brushes. I think they're neat. But I just wanted to make things look a little bit more hazy without compromising all the smudging I just did. So I'm doing all this on a new layer. And I'm trying to make it look like she's like pushing the fog away from her. Somewhat. So almost like she's in control of the ominous fog. Okay, I think that's probably good. I will smudge it just a little bit. I definitely don't want to overdo it. But I just want it to be a little bit less textury. Okay, but that looks pretty cool. I will get rid of some of it overlapping her dress there. Over here. And I definitely want some of this overlapping her. But I'm gonna tone it down just a little here. Just a little. Okay. I think that'll look pretty cool. I'll probably add some more details to it later, but... You know, it was not the effect that I was expecting to go for, but then I got the idea and I was like, yeah, let's just do it. and I think it works, so... Alright, I want to define where the horizon line is. Because right now it's still pretty ambiguous and, like, I need to put some more stars over here. She used to be covering the spot, so everything here is just nonsense right now. But I need to figure out how this castle is going to sit. And I also want to figure out how far in the background it is, if there should be anything in front of it, like perhaps some trees or something else vaguely spooky that I can put in a silhouette in the moon. I don't know. I'll still keep my fog copy for now because I am still a little bit scared. Okay, first things first. I want to make the bottom of this a little bit straighter. Now, as a note, this doesn't mean that I intend to make the horizon line straight. I might. It might be perfectly horizontal. I don't actually think it looks bad like this or anything. I just don't know yet. I'm gonna refine a few of the shapes here. See, this is why I said I need to go look at references of Gothic architecture when the time comes, because right now I'm just kind of using the same repeated triangles over and over again, because that's what I remember in my mind. But if I actually look at it, I can get a lot more varied shapes and make something much more interesting. Okay. I want this to peek out behind her, maybe. No, I don't think so. Okay, so the next question. Do I want it to be straight? Do I want everything to have a slight slant? I could get behind the composition being a little bit unstable. That might be a little bit too much. That looks pretty cool. Let's go ahead and just draw a little bit more castle here. There'll be some bumps and shapes and stuff. I just don't want it to be cut off like it was. Okay. There we go. We got a big spooky castle there. Do I want another layer of big spooky castle? Maybe with something like... almost a big... dome or something. And I can put a neat looking window there or something. Okay, I'm probably not going to be able to use opacity tricks for the final version, but... Okay. Let's just go ahead and make things the color I think they should be on that layer. And then I can do something like this or something. Maybe a little bit more like this. And here I'm just lowering the opacity, taking the color that I think I want, and bringing the opacity back up. Just to kind of get that kind of effect. I think it still needs to be a little bit more closer to that. Okay. But something like that. Yeah, it breaks up the moon a little bit. Since I got rid of the clouds because I didn't like them. You know what, speaking of clouds, let's go look up my ominous cloud idea. Because I have a particular type of cloud in my head. And I just want to refresh myself on what those kinds of clouds look like. It's actually pretty hard to draw something if you don't immediately know what it looks like. And you'll be surprised what you don't actually... how little you actually know what things look like. Your brain thinks it knows a lot, but it's not very smart. Okay. Okay, ominous clouds, take 2. Here we go. What color do I want to use? Kind of blue-gray. Somewhere around here, maybe. Okay, and then... what these kind of clouds do is they just kind of go all over the place, vaguely extending from a central form or a central kind of location, and I'm gonna have them kind of move around the moon. This might be too light. Oh, it's okay. I'll put in some dark spots a little bit later. You can see I'm not even worried about texturing it for now. I'm just kind of locking where I think I want these shapes to go. I want them on top of the castle. No. Okay. I had to think about it for a second. So, I'll just very gradually, very slowly kind of start blocking in the major parts. And pretty much all of it is lighter than the background. Even when I use a pretty dark color here, the background is a pretty dark color. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty gray. Hey, I'm gonna add a little bit of light from the moon here. This is what will make them look puffy. And I mean, I'm just doing all this with an airbrush right now. No, and it's already getting the texture. Already kind of getting the texture. And I do think that these kinds of clouds look way better than the ones I had before. I mean, it helps that I'm actually, like, drawing these as opposed to just plopping down some texture and calling it good. But I'll just slowly build up the values here. And I should get something kind of interesting eventually. Just gotta be patient. Wasn't satisfied with some of the darker areas, so I will go ahead and put those in too. I wanted to have just a little bit of blueness to it. I'll even have a few spots kind of overlap the moon. Oh yeah, it'll be something like this. And I think, you know, when I get around to fully rendering this, it should look pretty interesting. I think I might drag the smudge tool over this just a little here. Doesn't look exactly like the clouds I was thinking about, but it's pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. So I'll call it good. And it has the characteristics that I wanted. That's too much smudge. I'm just trying to think of how to get the last few shapes that I want there. I guess I'll just draw them. Just not wisping out quite right yet. I need, like, a few more straight lines. Just some straight lines here and there. That's what those kinds of clouds do, you know? The really stringy, wispy ones that can make these really creepy patterns out in the sky. I think that they are fascinating. And a lot of them have these very, very bright portions near the light source, which is why I'm doing stuff like this. Near the moon. That looks pretty obvious. I want to be a little bit careful with using the background color. I do want to use it to shade things a little bit, but I don't want to overuse it because I don't want to cover up my stars entirely. But I do want the stars to be kind of hidden through the clouds. So there's just lots of little things to balance here. Lots of little things. And I admit, right now I'm just kind of having fun. I probably don't need to be doing all this right now. And in fact, it's probably pretty pointless to do so. But it's pretty cool. And I'm having a good time, so I'm just taking a little break. Enjoying drawing some puffy clouds. That look very creepy. Yeah, just looking up at the thumbnail, just adding all of these little clouds has already made a pretty big difference. So that is nice. It's nice when a plan comes together. It's nice when a plan comes together. I'll just add a few of these little light points in here. And I want things to be pretty bright up near here. And I kind of want things to start getting lost over the moon. But I want to show some hint of cloud. It's just the clouds over the moon are going to become pretty bright because these are thin clouds, right? These are thin. So all the bright lights from the moon will kind of drown them out. And also I want the moon to be very bright, so I don't want to cover it up with clouds too much. So it doesn't even matter if it makes sense or not. It's all good. Okay, I also want to take a look at some of Runie's backgrounds. Are there any images here of what things look like? It really doesn't look like it. I could have sworn she had like almost like an inside of a castle for her background screen. It's like, I admit, when I watch VTubers, I often have them just on in the background and I'm not always looking at the screen. So I do not always remember what their overlays look like. Let me see if I can find what they look like. Okay, I will have to actually look at one of her streams. Do I want to do that now? No, I want to draw some more clouds. I'll do that when I'm ready to get the rest of the stuff that's kind of more in the front part of the background. Mid-ground? Yeah, let's go with that. For now, cloud time. Yes. Right here, like I already said, it cannot have any clouds on it. But I'll take them back in a little bit. It's all good. Don't worry about it. I just got to get some of these things in. I'm using too small of a brush for the shadow parts. See? You're just taking them back. Okay. This is another way to kind of take it back, because I do plan to blow out the highlights a little bit here. That's going to make them look nice and streaky, and I think it'll be pretty cool. And I might take a break from drawing some clouds soon, just because this really is sufficient until I'm actually ready to render it. I think I have gotten my idea down more than enough here. I'm just kind of relaxing. So I kind of need it. I've been sick, and yesterday I had a lot of trouble sleeping. So being able to just kind of chill out and render some ominous clouds, you know, it sounds pretty nice right now. I was actually worried about whether or not I'd have the energy to stream today, but it worked out. Okay. But I should be good. And actually take a look about what I want to put over here and all these things. And it'll help me figure out where I want to place all the bats. Because I do want the bats. I think the bats are... Okay, one more thing I want to do before I get too deep into the rest. I need to get her tiara on. So I'm going to temporarily hide the light. We're seeing her slightly from below, so this tiara, I mean, it's sitting not on the crown of her head at the very top, but a little bit further forward. So I think on the pose I'm going for, it's going to be kind of like this. We don't really see the topmost parts here, but we do see some of the pointy stuff on the side. So I think it'll be something like that. And then the rest will be covered up by hair and whatnot. I think I might actually push her down just a little bit. Just enough for us to see some of the spikes going up the top there. So, as always, still just kind of placeholder shaping things. There we go. Yep, and I think that is a pretty good amount of backlighting there, so, you know, when I go through and kind of erase on the sides here, I'll go ahead and do it with my airbrush. Because that's probably what I'll do for the final. But just for proof of concept purpose. You just kind of take it back. Get some light on her cheek there because I think it'll look nice. Don't worry that her hand is hot pink. Just pretend like she's wearing an ugly glove for now. And don't mind her shoulders. That'll all get fixed later. All through here. And it should add some pretty nice little things going on. A little bit of shine on her nose here, through the side of the eye. And there. So it'll be kind of like that, and I guess I should call this dark. And then what I will do is I will add a little bit of extra lights where I think it's important. So I normally do that with a layer on addition and then a dark color, but it'll be kind of like this. Right now everything is very floofy, so don't mind it. Little bit of light on the back here from the moon. So it'll be, you know, something like that, just better. But I do feel the need to get all of the atmosphere done at this stage. And like I said, it'll be a pretty dark color. Make it pretty saturated too. I want it to look pretty red. I'm gonna set it on normal just to make sure I get a very, very nice red color here. Yeah, there we go. Set that to addition, it should look pretty good. Maybe color dodge will be better. Yes. There we go. Let's get a little bit of that light in there. Okay. So that's a little bit more accurate to what her lighting situation will be like. I think I might even make the dark part just a little bit darker. There we go. Just so that this way the light part looks that much more shiny. What makes things look bright is contrast. If you put, just for demonstration purposes, if I were to put a pure white right here on the moon. It doesn't actually look that bright, right? But if I put it over here, it looks very bright. And that's because what makes things look light is contrast. So I'll always remember that. The contrast is very important. I think I want more light around the moon. Just want it a little bit brighter right through here. And then the darkness that I have here, I believe I just have this layer set to multiply, right? I sure do. Which means I probably just took this color. So let's make it a little bit darker. I just kind of want things to be a little bit darker in the corner here. Even more so than that, I think. Okay. So part of it is also this blue that I got here. So I believe I just used like a nice sky blue. So let's make it really, really dark. And I'll just brush over this corner just a little. Oh wow, even that's not dark enough. I gotta get real close to black if I want to darken that then. Okay. I'm just gonna use some purple. So what I did is I made a new layer. And now I set it to multiply, and then I'm just gonna pick kind of a gray purple here and just go over things a little bit more. I think I'll even put it on top of the clouds. And this is pretty often how I light things. Just with some various multiply layers. Okay. I look up the thumbnail to kind of check the composition, and so far I think I got something going. I'm debating if I like the angle that the buildings are at, or if I want them to be more flat. I decided to try the angled look. I'm not sure if it's working for me. Choices are hard. Choices are always hard. I'm gonna put it back and stare at it for a while like that. I do think I'm gonna have to lower this one's opacity. I don't know. Maybe not. I just need to get it in the clouds more. So I'll lower the opacity for now. I can't do it like this for the final one because it'll be see-through on the cloud. Or not on the cloud, but on the moon. And that's no good, but I can do it as a temporary measure. Okay, so I'm gonna make it straight. Not quite straight. There we go. So right about there. And I'll leave it like that for a while and see which one I prefer. We'll see if that still bothers me. Okay, what do I want to do for the foreground? What do I want to do for the foreground? Alright, well, I'm gonna go take a look at our overlays here. So, give me just a moment. You might hear some sound, but I will try to mute very quickly. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Oh, hey, and I get to be reminded of the magic circle in her opening screen. Okay, so this one. Okay, here we go. This is be pretty good. Okay, so our end screen has a lovely forbidden library, and I do love the magic circle drawn there. I love magic circles. They are fantastic. I definitely gotta draw one. It's gonna be where the light source, besides the moon, I guess, is coming. And this is why she's lit from the bottom. The backlit and the lit from the bottom should make for a very ominous picture. Yes. Okay. Let's see, do I have anything? Okay, it's like I thought that she had some, like, Zatsudan background. Let me see if I can find one. This is pretty much how I always get ideas for how to what I want to draw. And I think this is especially important to do for when you're drawing fan art. Never hesitate to just go out and look at the thing that you are trying to draw. See what kind of things that they do. Okay. I still have no idea. So you know what? I'm gonna go into Google and look for a spooky castle. We're gonna go look at castles. And failing that, I might just go full concept art on this thing. And just start breaking things up and adding random things in until I'm happy. Ooh. Ooh. We gotta have a moat, man. I decided there's gotta be a moat now. Okay. How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna go hide my foreground stuff for now. And we are gonna make this look good without the fog. And then I'll put the fog back on and we can just be all super impressed. Anyway. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then one thing I want to do. Compare my new clouds with my old clouds. See how much better they look now that they're not super horizontal? Like, they're still straight across, right? But now they do this. Whoa. They are pointing right at Runie, as it should be. As opposed to this, which just kind of went, nah. And it was very boring. So that's why I was like, nah, I can't have that. This is why I kept the layer. So this way we could compare the before and after, before we got the cool clouds. And it's not just that I spent more time on these clouds, just derping around. That probably helps, but not as much as you might think. I mean, I definitely didn't spend very much time on this, but I think it looks pretty cool. I should look up Gothic cathedral stuff too. But no, I'm gonna go ahead and go break up the mid-ground here a little. Okay, so I want a cool moat. Gotta call layer moat. Okay. And I'm gonna use my hard brush for this. I'm probably gonna be taking a lot of it back later, but it's fine. So this color is probably a little bit too dark. but it'll do for now. I think this one's a little better. So let's see. We're just gonna have... highly reflective surface here, and I'll just put a whole bunch of water going through here. I don't know what it's gonna do yet. But it's gonna do something like this. I actually think I might want this one behind Moor Castle, because I think I want Moor Castle to be... To really define where the horizon is. I still haven't decided if it's gonna be slanted or not, but that'll really define where the horizon is, and then I might add some like little rock islands somewhere in all this water. I don't know. Things will be tried. This is fine for now. And now I'm going to take the basic opacity brush, and I'm just going to brush in some light spots where the moon hits. This way it looks like water. I just want to make it clear to the me of tomorrow. This is water. Look how water-like it is. And I know that I named the layer moat. But it's fine. You still want to remember these things. And I'm going to use mostly horizontal lines here. The water is very stagnant. Something like this is fine for now. Okay. Let's go add some cool rocks. So I think what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to take this color and I'm going to add a shadow color to it. This is just my standard background color. So I'll draw it here. And I'm going to use this to pick a nice shadow color for me. Oh wait, I'm still using an opacity brush. I do not want my opacity brush on overlay. What am I doing? Hello there, Schnorra. Welcome back. Okay. Is that a good shadow color? I think it's a little dark. Let's lighten up this color a little bit then. Congrats. I think that's still a little bit dark. It's like, this is stuff in the background. I don't want the contrast to be as strong as what I would put on the character, right? So I'm trying to find a color that contrasts, but not too strongly. So I'm not making this nearly as dark as I normally would. Maybe a little bit darker than that. I'm also using a little bit more of a gray color than the really saturated purples that I normally do when I'm finding shadows. Just, you know, for the same reason. I don't want it to contrast too hard. Just enough. I think that's pretty good. You can see here up in my foreground and background, there is a clear difference between them, but it shouldn't be distracting. Okay. Let's put in some rocks here. Rocks are cool. I love rocks. Oh, that doesn't look good, though. Let's see. What do I want to do with that? What do I want to do with that? Maybe some big rock spires up here in the background. Kind of differentiate between the actual architecture versus this. It also makes me wonder if I should have this not run all the way to her shoulders if I'm gonna do this kind of pattern. I want this over the moon. So maybe this part is, like, I can make this part look more like a gate. And that might be interesting. A big walled gate. And then over here will be the actual, like, castle-y parts. I don't know if I like this. I like this shape. I do. I don't know. Do I just need to break it up a little bit more? I don't know. It's just not right. I don't know how to describe it. Besides, it's not quite right. Something like that might be cool over here, though. Just some small, rocky outcroppings. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool around the moat, actually. I don't think I'll do it all the way across. I think I want some parts to look a little beachy. Maybe instead of rocks back there, I should put in some trees. Let's try it. And then I can put more trees out in the foreground here. And, show the difference in distance between the foreground and the background. That might be interesting. I'll leave them black for now. I think I want this black, though. So we'll just have some trees doing tree things back here. And I'll just do it like this. A few more trees out here. I don't want them to look as big as the castle, though. So they would need to be smaller. Then we just see the tops of these little trees right through here. And I'm just doing quick tree doodle here. These will look nicer once I actually draw them, but I don't need to. I don't even know if I like trees here. And then I can have some slightly more clear trees kind of in the foreground here. Let's see, how do I want to do this? So the over here, I could have some trees a little further forward. Do I like that? I don't. I don't. Okay, let's get some more rocks over here. We'll put some big rocks on the shore here. Big old rocks. They don't look very big, I know. But that's because they're pretty far in the background. And I'll even put some rocks in the water. This one's like giant. Even though it doesn't really look that way. That tells me that I'm not quite doing certain things very well here. No, I don't want any light there. Okay, but that looks pretty alright. Okay, so this guy needs to come up high enough that we're overlapping some stuff here. And this guy will get lit by some light there. No, not a transparency mask, a group. There we go. So... basically what I plan to do to show the difference in depth here is I'm gonna... this is a placeholder color, but it's fine. I can use it for now. I will go ahead and just light the rocks here. I guess I can't preserve alpha here. I will be able to at some point. So this rock will be lit up by the magic circle here because they are quite close. This one will get a little bit. But the ones out here get very, very little. I'll go ahead and just plop a little bit of light from this circle down here. And so that should help a little bit. That should help a little bit. I still don't know if I like the trees over there. Choices are hard. Art is hard. It's just, I feel like if I'm gonna have trees out there, I need trees in the foreground too, and I got nowhere I want to put a tree in the foreground. So you know what? We're gonna leave everything super dead, and I'm just gonna use rocks. Okay. I'm just gonna use rocks. So I guess rocks back there should be kind of this color. And I do want to break up the shape of the moon a little bit. I guess I'll just scribble and see if I can find a few shapes that I really enjoy. We'll see what happens. I don't know, I'll put a road going up there or something. Might be interesting. I don't know if we'd see it like that, but it's fine. Like, I'm gonna reduce the contrast between these things at some point. And that should help. I'll just make this a little bit bumpier. And then maybe all the way in the back. Like, same tier as Cathedral Dome there. I can just put in a few more giant rocks. I'm not sure how to make them look like rocks instead of more of the thing there is more of the castle. Like that doesn't quite do it. Humu humu. I don't know if that looks very rock-like. I don't hate it though, so I guess I'll leave it there. I'll make it a slightly different color. And then just add some points here and there to make it more rock-like, I guess? I don't know. We wouldn't really see the texture from this distance, so I don't think that actually helps. Might just be something in what I do to when I decide how the light hits things. Okay, I'm gonna go turn my fog back on. think I have the water coming a little bit too far forward. On this side, mostly. Alright, let's go fix that. And I will use the power of the liquefy tool to fix all my problems. And another thing that will help when I decide it's time is fixing how I shaded the water. So if I put the lines closer together, then it'll look like it's going further back, and that'll help a lot too. Okay, but I guess this is fine. I'm just taking a look at the fog here and whether or not I still like it. Because some parts of it don't feel quite foggy enough. And certain parts of it, like over here, actually feel a little bit too foggy. So sure, let's go mess around with that. I'll start with the part that over here that feels a little bit too foggy. If I take it back just a little bit, reveal some of the rock underneath here. And to be fair, when I was doing the initial fog, I had nothing going on in the background. So I had no way of knowing how all this would interact. Okay. And now I can go add things if I want. So I can make certain parts a little bit hazier. Get just a little bit more of that fog going. I don't want to overdo it though, so I'm being very careful. And I still will go ahead and smudge it around. And I can already tell that I'm going to have to make some patches where there are no bits of fog. That will actually make things look even foggy. One of those weird paradoxes. Okay, I will go ahead and smear just a little bit more. I have a particular consistency I'm going for here. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Got a little bit too much going on right up here. Okay. So now I'm gonna look at this for a little bit. I do want to direct the bats, but I got a couple of things I want to do on the rocks. Before I call everything good, I just want to reduce the contrast here. This is way in the background, so I just don't want that area to be too, you know, contrasty. I think I pulled it back a little bit too hard, but there we go. That should be pretty good. I want to kind of smooth that out too. And then over here should probably have some lights. So let me go ahead and find a nice light color I can use here. There we go. I think that's a pretty good one. Oops. No, back over here. Accidentally clicking on my tabs. Oh no. Alright. I'll just add some lighter parts on the plane of this rock here. And it can do rock things later. But I don't think these ones really get any. This one I guess can have a little bit. This one I don't think gets any. I might just add a few little dots here and there, and perhaps a little bit of foam from the water here. Make this part a beach. There we go. Over here's not going to get any. It's far away. At most, it might just get a few like little dots here. So something kind of like this. Nothing serious. And then this, I think, is even further back. So let's see. What do I want to do with you to make you go further back? Something like this, I think. Just have everything kind of blend together as it goes further back. Okay, I'm gonna go turn the fog back on, and I guess I'll turn my lights around the rock area back on as well. And now I want to position these bats. And then I think once I had the bats positioned, I'm gonna go ahead and actually draw out the shapes of the castle. And I will design that. Okay. But I'm digging this. I think this is working. I'm just thinking of what I want the bats to be doing, and I think I'll have them fly around this thing. Make it look like they're kind of coming from out there. Maybe there's a nice little place for them to take shelter over there or something. Okay. I'm gonna clear them for now. Cursor freaking out for some reason. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna take a look at what they look like. So the ones in the background will not have these bright pink parts. But the ones closer definitely will. So I have to think about how I want to position them. I gotta be very careful with that. Because I want one in the foreground on top of her. And I want the black of the wing to be there. So I have to make sure that the wing is folding in such a way that the black part is what's sitting on her hair and not this bright pink part. I am deliberately using that for contrast purposes. So let's see here. Let's see here. Choices are hard. I'm just trying to picture in my head how the bat would have to be folding its wings in order to get the effect I want. And I think I can do something kind of like here, where it's just tilted in such a way that the wings kind of do this. And I'll get these fingers shaped a little bit more nicely later. We'll just have Mr. Bat over here. We just kind of see him from the top. So we'll get the bat in there. But yeah, I think that does what I want him to do. And then maybe another one up on this part of her hair. I don't mind if this one overlaps on the pink part, so I might let him do some more exciting things with his wings. Maybe something like this, where I kind of had the middle part here. Wing coming out here. How are they shaped? Okay. And then this wing is still a little bit more folded this way. I'm gonna let him go off the screen, actually. I think he's a little bit big, too. And then this one I can have folded a little bit further back. Okay, and then there's just gonna be some more bat things happening over here. And they're just gonna gradually get further and further back. And I'll just let them kind of fly all around this little steeple here. Is that doing it for me? I think this guy needs to be a little bit bigger. I don't mind if half his wing is hidden off screen. It's all good. Something like that, maybe? I don't know. Should this guy be a little bit lower? I don't like this one. This one would be okay if it was behind her. Yeah, that one's okay if it's behind her. And I'll just add a few more kind of doing things over there. And then at the end, I think I'm gonna... I think I want one more. It's kind of over here. Maybe we see just a little corner of his wing over here going this way. And this one is just gonna be blurred. So he'll be quite large, and this one will be blurred. I don't know. I still don't like this. I'm gonna try again. I kind of know what I have in mind, but that wasn't doing it. Okay, you know what? Before I add bats, I got a couple more things I want to do in the foreground. We need some rocks in the foreground. And everything should also be behind my fog layer. So that is important too. Okay, I think that's about all it needs there, but it definitely needed a little something. I don't know, do I want a big one near her? It'll cover up like everything back there though, so that's why I was hesitant to do it. But is this better than what I had before? Let her kind of peek out from behind a rock or something. No, I don't think so. It was worth a shot. It was worth trying. But I think the smaller rock looks better. Okay. Now just blur it a bit. We put the fog back on. Yeah, I just like the little bit covering her there. And the little bit covering the magic circle over here. I want to get the color of the magic circle right. Where are you? Where the heck did I put you? There you are. You need to be much brighter if I want you to stand out against that, the fog. Let me see, what color? What color are these things? I close the tab I was using for reference. I did. Okay, let me pull it back up. Okay, so the one used in her starting screen is just white. I don't think that's quite what I want here. I think I want to use purple. Something kind of purple. And don't mind how dark the color was for a second there. Okay, I actually don't like how much this fog is covering the circle there, so I'm gonna keep the fog, but I'm just gonna take it away in a few points right around here. And don't worry, it'll look fine. I just want to bring some of this out a little bit more here. Because there is certain magic you can do to make these things work for you. Okay. Let's make it glow. Once I find it again. Okay. And I think I will actually just reduce the opacity of the fog just a little bit. Just a little. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Bats. Yeah, let's do the bats. How am I gonna do some bats here? I think the bats are just the same color as her dress. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and draw some bat-like shapes for now. There'll be like a whole bunch kind of wandering around over there. And I do like the way that they break up the moon a little bit, so I would like to have some. I just have to, you know, draw them well. That's the big thing. They gotta be drawn well. This one is gonna go behind her. And I'll probably look up some proper bat references when it comes time to actually draw these. But for now, I'm just kind of placing where they will be in the composition. So it doesn't really matter what they actually look like. Then maybe just a big ol' wing over here, like I was planning that one time. Another one that's gonna kind of go behind her over here. I think I want this one to be a little bit larger. Probably even covering her a little bit. Just debating how, basically. We just see this one's wing. Okay, and as they go further into the back, I think they need to get a little darker. Okay, and then the ones up in the front, I guess, can be affected by some of the light going on from the magic circle, so let me get that color. It's pretty dang close to white if it's not actually white. Okay, how is this? Let me just zoom out and make sure I like this. I think this bat needs to be a little bit bigger. Which probably means this one does too, so I'll go ahead and make both of them a little bit bigger. And I don't like how they have like almost the same horizontal position here. So either this one needs to come way over here, or it needs to be more over here. And I think over here looks a lot better. Okay, I'll let this bat exist on top of the foreground rocks there. And then the one by her. Yeah, all of these, both of these I think will be blurred a little. This one more so than the one by her face. Oh, I have the layer locked. Can't have that. There we go. Now they're gonna get nice and blurry. So I'll keep this one a little bit blurred, and then this one that's just a wing, extremely blurred. He's gonna get real blurry. Okay. And this is strictly for composition checking. I will be redrawing pretty much all of this a little bit later. Okay, and I do think that this bat wing out here needs to be a little bit bigger. I like this one, but I think it needs to be a little bit bigger too. These are still very horizontal next to each other. Maybe there should only be one. main thing is just that I want it to cover up part of the moon and a part of the castle there. So that's kind of the goal. And based on where I think this should be, this is a little bit big. So we'll go ahead and lessen that just a little. I like the idea of a little piece of the architecture here sticking out. And I will blur this guy just a little. Why are you not blurring? Yeah, you are on this layer. I wish to blur this. Please. Thank you. Okay, so something like that. Does that work? I think so. I'll go ahead and just add a few more here and there. Kind of want to make them look like they're all coming from this area, so they'll be kind of concentrated over here. Okay, but I think this works. All right. All right. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and finalize the architecture now, so that means it's time to hide all the foreground stuff again. All right. Time to go look at what Gothic architecture looks like again. So I want a bunch of very spindly things. Very spiky. So I'm just going to take a look at some pictures, get the general kind of shapes that I want to go for in my head. And then I just want this big dome thing to have the kind of the appearance of those neat Gothic cathedrals. So okay. So I'm paying very careful attention to the shape language here. And Gothic buildings, Gothic referring to like the time period in this case. And they, you know, they like their big pointy spires and whatnot, but there's actually a fair amount of square stuff too. But of course, I will be focusing mostly on those big pointy spires. I'm just seeing roughly how they're spaced and some other kinds of shapes that I could get in there. So let's just see what I can do here. All right, I think I've got plenty of ideas now. So let's go ahead and start refining this. I want to also take a quick look at just normal castles. So that this way I can get this part that I have declared a wall. To look a little bit more wall-like. So I'm saying that this is going to be like a wall. You got a walled off castle. And then there's going to be like the big kind of fort areas near where a drawbridge will be. And that'll be out like this. And then I'm going to make it spiky because I can. So we'll add some little spikes coming off here. And I'm not refining it yet, right? We do not need to refine this yet. But I do want to know where a lot of these shapes are going to be going. And I want to keep it fairly symmetrical. A lot of their architecture was very, very symmetrical. So this is going to be like where a watchtower is. Same on this side. Okay, and then I want to add some of these kind of smaller things. Little small bits coming up. This was very common on like medieval walls. And I have decided that there needs to be something over here, so I will put another more squarish tower there. With the big pointy bit coming up. Actually, no, this one won't have a pointy bit. This one is just gonna have the blocked off square. I'll do it like this. Just to add something a little bit different. This side will be similar, but this one I might add a pointy bit to. This one might get a pointy bit. I'm gonna line it up there. We'll let it go behind her shoulder here. And perhaps you get a pointy bit. Okay. And then I will just add more of these little things here. And I want it to be a little bit more symmetrical, so I'm actually going to move this part a little bit further this way. Just so that there's closer to equal distance on these sides. Okay, I guess I can let you have a little bit of a pointy bit. Okay. So there we go. That's kind of what I'm calling the wall. And now we have this part, which is going to be more the castle. Let's see, how do I want the castle to shake out? So a lot of what I saw involved very large triangular areas like this. Followed by smaller triangular areas near it. So kind of more like this. And I can kind of match some of the shapes in her tiara too. So I can kind of keep these things in mind. And I want some of the wall areas to peek out above. And this kind of pattern was common too. This is why I explicitly wanted to look at it. Just so that this way I could really, really see what was going on. And I want to keep this big domed area very free. And I think I might end up making it a little bit smaller than this. In fact, I should probably do that now. Okay, so backmost castle will make you this color. Okay. Okay. I still don't know if I like that rock. But yeah, this building should be like freaking huge based on how I've drawn it here. And so I think the kind of thing that I want to go for. Something a little bit more like this. And then we'll have a square part at the top. With the, you know, nice, big, pointy triangles going on up here. Looks like a Christmas ornament. But I think it'll be fine. Let this rise all the way up into the sky. And I'll add a little bit more shoulder there, and then I could add some kind of neat patterns going on. And I think it'll work. I can do some of that now. Let's see. What I was picturing was almost just like a giant stained glass window here. And we can just kind of barely make it out. Okay. Now I'm going to model it somewhat after the magic circle on that scroll on the reference sheet here. So that had a big triangle. Okay. Well, I'll draw this proper, you know, closer to the end. I just kind of want to get some of the gist down here. And then there's an area here with a bunch of scribbles. Let's draw a bunch of scribbles. Okay, those are some sweet scribbles. I made it too big, but it's okay. And then we have some more stuff here. And there's, you know, more, and then some writing around here. But that is basically what this is going to look like. This is enough detail for now. And so we have that big old window, and it'll be a slightly different color from the rest, because it's going to be stained glass. And I want it to be a little bit less contrasty, because it's like way in the distance there. But okay, I think that's probably detailed enough for the background there. I want to do a little bit more with all this. I can get a little bit more specific with some of the shapes here. Add a few just different ones. Different kinds of things going on. We'll just have all kinds of pretty little buildings here. Let some kind of break through that barrier there. Oh, that covers up a little bit too much of the stained glass, so I'll do it on this side. And we'll have a smaller one over here. Whoa there. Okay, and then we'll just put some stuff out here, and I think I can keep out here pretty simple. There we go. I think that is sufficiently castle-like. And it was nice and quick. I mean, I haven't cleaned it up yet, but still. Okay. Let me take a good look at this. I think I'm gonna change the color on the moat just a little bit. I think I want it just to be a little bit more blue. Just a little bit. I want you to be darker or lighter. Maybe a little bit lighter. And then I think I want the red in the foreground here to be just a little bit darker. Okay, so maybe something like this, and then I can kind of brush in some light from the moon over here, and I can just make things a little bit darker over on the sides. I'll do this in the rocks areas too. Gotta hide the foreground again while I kind of derp around at this. Oh, I have you set to erase right now, don't I? Okay, that's actually a problem. Let me back up then. Okay, all the way back here. I do want just a couple little bright areas from the moon here. And then I would like the dark areas back here in the corners. Okay, and then I will go to the rocks and we'll darken areas over here too. Okay, and gonna put the fog back on. Just in general. I want just a little bit of darkness around the corners. So I'm gonna pick a kind of gray purple. It's gonna be pretty light. I don't want it to be super noticeable. And I'm just gonna darken the corners a little bit. Just wholesale. Alright. So let's see, how am I feeling about the lighting? I kinda want to take back my light areas in the background here. Just a little. And maybe a little bit more of the dark areas around the side. Okay. And I think I will actually tilt Runie just a little bit more here. Just a little bit. Okay, and I want to change the tilt of her head just a little bit too. I'm just debating with myself, but I know that the tilt is a little bit off. Is it? kind of like it going further that way, but I don't know if that works. They'd have to go way further that way. And that does not work. I just don't like how when I bring it back the other way, it starts lining up with the horizontal plane of the picture again. But I don't like it going this way, because then it lines up with her body too much. So maybe I had it right. Okay, I guess I had it right. Okay, we're good. Let's see, is there anything else I'd like to change? Do I want her to be a little bit bigger? It's like, I know I just said that I wanted the tiara to show a little bit, but at the same time, if I put her higher up, it'll make it more like she's looking down at the viewer. So I kind of have to find the right trade-off there. Let's do some comparisons. Gotta try things. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Even raise her up just a little bit more here. Okay, and now I can do something with her eyes here, and I can make them even look down just a little bit harder. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me fix the bat location. Supposed to be kind of up here by her hand. Okay. Is the moon too small now? Let me try making it a little bit bigger. Where are you, moon layer? I've got so many background things that I'm losing track of them all. There you are. Okay, no, I don't think it's too big. Or too small. Maybe just a tiny bit, but not really. And kind of lighting it up with the buildings over here. Okay, now that I see, now that I have clarified the buildings back there a little bit more, we got a tangent with this bat. Either he should be firmly out of this or firmly on it. I will put him on it. He'll go live here now. Okay, I just wanted a little something there where the bat used to be. Okay. Okay, I think we got a composition going here. The world now exists. And I might end up drawing some more windows and stuff back here. Or it might just stay pure silhouette. Who knows? We'll see what the future holds. But I think that was pretty good progress for today, and I think it's looking pretty good. It's officially there, looking very painting-like. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else I feel like doing or that feels a little bit off to me? I'm gonna go ahead and mirror it. You know, proportions aside, that'll be the nightmare for next time. How do I feel about the composition? Alright, Mr. Bat. Gotta bring your wing a little further over here. But otherwise, it's okay. Do I want any, like, additional colors or anything? If anything, the sky feels a little bit too blue. Where are you, my ominous clouds? I kind of want to make them a little bit more red. Some of that is just going to have to be, you know, raw colorization later. But let me see what they look like a little bit more red. Yes, very yes. Yeah, I just made it a little bit too blue. Just trying to find where they need to go here, but I'm not quite sure where red is. I guess it'd be about there. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. And then I can just have the blue and purple around her. Maybe I should put a little bit more purple down here too. Just kind of brush on a little bit more color. With all the rocks. It's like I got a little bit of the purple in the water. Let me see, should I make the water... No, I think the water's a fine color. I'm just considering, do I want to put any further purple there? There's gonna be a little bit in like the bat wings and stuff. So I think that should do it. And then of course her dress will have all the colors, and I think it's fine for her to be the most colorful thing on here. Yeah, I think it's probably fine. Okay, yeah. I think that's good. I just had to think about it for a second. I'll keep you because you're gonna be good for next time when I actually get her body going. And yeah, I think this is gonna be pretty fun to finish. So there we go. Might take me a little bit though. It is a full illustration here. I am doing all the things, but pretty much everything is down now. And yeah, next time, start doing the character. I guess I can probably start working on that a little bit now. Kinda start fixing some proportions. I guess I will. So I'm gonna remove all the lighting. So things are gonna look a little bit weird for a while, but you know, that's just how it goes. And right now, I'm still gonna stick with my usual kind of, well, okay, I'm not sure what that was. My usual... Why is it panicking? I cannot pan. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, so I'm not... It's going to be more softly shaded. But right now, I'm gonna stick with my usual hard shading until I know how things are gonna shake out. And where everything is gonna go. Because it's a little bit easier to manage. This way I really only have to pay attention to the, mid-tone shadow highlight. And I don't really have to worry about other things. So, okay, let's see if I can get those shoulders. Because that's the biggest thing that's been bothering me. So when I think about this and how it's structured. Let's draw some lines. So basically, there's a twist in these shoulders here because for the most part they're coming forward, except back here where it's going back. So what I actually got is not like a rectangle going like this. I need my hot pink. It's not quite a rectangle going like this, where we see the top there, and then we see the bottom part kind of going through here. You see a bit of the side here. It's not quite like this. Instead, it's a bit more like we have the outer part of the box going a little bit more like this. Shoulder to shoulder here. Try not to confuse the arm with the shoulder. And so we have part of the top here, and then it twists. It kind of rolls up like this. Okay. So let's see. I think I just have this angle a little bit too extreme. So if I reconnect the shoulder there, I'm going to go ahead and hide her hair while I get all this going. Okay, so that's still a decently flirty angle there. So the top of her shoulder, coming off of her neck, is going to be right about here. And then it's going to go down. And eventually it'll turn into the arm. So straight of the shoulder there. Okay, and I'm just going to use this color for the arm now. I know it'll have to change later, but I need it to help me see. I need it to help me see. Okay, light part in here. This is incongruent with the light coming from the bottom, but that, like I said, it's okay. It'll all be okay. And the collarbones would actually be like down here. Going up. I may or may not draw collarbones. It's fine either way. Okay. Now let's get the arm coming forward. I'm just thinking about how the angle for this arm should be. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the pose real quick here, so I'm probably gonna look weird for a second. Don't worry about it. Let's see, what does my arm do here? So, oh man, I'm gonna have to do complicated arm things. Oh boy. We see, like, the under part of this elbow here. Oh god, this is gonna hurt my brain. I find arms very difficult to draw already. And now I have to pull shenanigans. So what I think that means is that this part of her elbow should be a little bit flatter than it otherwise would be. As it comes up in here. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and start getting the hand. I'm going to go ahead and add a dark shadow to the side of her head here. Just so that I can see a little bit better. It's fine if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense yet. It's all good. But now I can use 2 colors for this. Okay. So the big thing is that the index finger is in the back. The index finger that's kind of sitting against her cheek there. Take a good look at my hand here. Okay. So the big thing I need to get is the angle of the hand here. It's going to be like this, and we kind of see the inside. And there will be a finger kind of wrapped around there at some point. I will draw it eventually, maybe. Okay. I don't mind if there's still a little bit of hot pink in there. It's all good. I don't quite know where some of these shadows are going to go, so... And then this finger should kind of face outward. Does she have nail polish? It's very pink and cute. Let's go draw it. Is it on any of our other views? No, so we'll have to go with the kind of shaded one. That's fine. Very workable. So here we see the side of the finger, so it's going to be kind of like this. And all the rest are kind of covered here, except for maybe the pinky, which we might see a little bit of nail kind of coming out there. Very much the side, though, I think. Yeah, probably just like a tiny sliver of it. From inside her hand. What does that look like? Which side is it going to be on? So the tip of my finger touches my palm, so it'll be on this side. Probably something like that. Okay. I'm gonna turn her hair back on. And I guess that's fine for now. I will have to work all that out later. I want to check her chest. How do I feel about it? How do I feel about it? I feel like it should be a little bit round. And basically what that amounts to is just kind of like this. Let it kind of wrap around her torso here a little. And I wanted to follow the shape of her torso and where all that's going. So I'm looking at her shoulders and I'm seeing kind of the angle that her torso is sitting at. It's like this. So they should be, you know, like this. And then the center line is kind of doing something like this. Her body's a little bit curved, right? So this, if you think of the ribcage as kind of a square, it's going to do something like this. Let me grab a hot pink. So we got the top here. Then it'll come down like this. Her body is angled this way. Down here. So that kind of covers the torso. And she's leaning forward. So we see the top and this side. So this is the cube here. And it's going into the back here, where it's just going all the way back. And then her hips, I kind of want to be coming down, that they'll be overlapping, so that the hips are going to be sitting there. I'll draw the hips in a different color. So they're going to be sitting somewhere back here. And they're going to be kind of coming more straight down. Kind of like that. And the parts that we see the hips at, since we're looking at her from slightly below, we see just a sliver down here. And we see this side. So it's kind of like this. This is not in proportion, but this is the perspective I'm picturing in my head. And I think these are actually angled slightly more this way, both of them. Because you can see her leg coming out there. And this is just because I have her entire body angled. That's kind of what I'm picturing in my head. So I'm really trying to make it so we're not necessarily seeing, like, the bottom of her chest, but we are. It's complicated. We're seeing her stomach more accurately. So on her torso and her rib cage, we don't see the bottom of the rib cage. But where those two shapes connect, you know, when I drew this way out here, where we'd have top of the torso here, or actually, I guess I'll just draw the rib cage as I see it. So we got a rib cage here. We're seeing a bit of the top of it, so it's going to be like this, kind of like that. And then we have the hips that are going to be a little bit straighter. And we see we see the side and then a tiny, tiny sliver of the bottom. And where they connect, you got a little pinch here. And then this part is very stretched out. So it's like this. So, while we don't see the bottom of the ribcage here, that's going to be like, you know, back here. So this is the bottom of the ribcage here. We do see her tummy area. That's this point where it connects to the hip area. And so that's gonna be this part on this lady. And that is the part that I'm trying to make sense of over here. So I'm trying to kind of figure out where her chest is. And I think I might have it a little bit low. I'll move it up just a touch. Drawing the dress to compensate there. Let it open up like this. And I'm not worried about it blowing in the wind or anything yet. I will do that. And I assure you it looks very cool in my head. It does. But unfortunately, it'll be a little bit before I can properly show that to everyone. These things unfortunately take a bit of time. But I do think that looks a little bit more accurate than what I had before. Let me kind of pull it out this way a little. Center, I think, is actually a little bit further to the right, so I will adjust that accordingly. And then on her outfit here, these parts are pretty round. Let's see, what direction do they go? Because, like, they wrap around. So there's some dresses that show a little bit more cleavage, and in which case they'd sweep a little bit more inward. But this one goes around. And I don't care about any of these spiky shapes or anything yet. None of those things matter right now. I'm just trying to get the structure. That is it. Structure is the only thing right now. Okay. But I think that is looking a little bit better. This side may be a little bit big. So I'll shrink it down just a touch. She does not have any of the Sakana inflation going on, so I want to keep the size fairly accurate here. And I want them to be covering the arm. That's another big thing. Okay, getting the shape out there, good. How far away from the armpit is the top point? It's a pretty good distance. So I think I want to pull this in a little bit more. Get the center line lined up correctly. This point is especially important there, and now I will adjust the lighting here accordingly. And I think after that, that will be an excellent stopping point. Because I think her proportions are looking a little bit better already. So I'm just making sure that the center is lined up here. Just remembering that she is being lit from the bottom and from the back. So I'm officially paying attention to my light sources now. I guess I was paying some attention to them before, but now things really matter. Okay. So something like that. Her head feels a little bit big, though. That and her neck honestly feels really, really thick. Like, really thick. And I don't think her neck is sitting on her shoulders quite right. I think it should be, like, over there. Okay. Yes, I'm gonna do a little bit. I always say it's about time to stop, but then I'm just like, oh, but what if I fix this? What if I fix that? That right there, it looks a little bit off. There's always something, you know? Always something. Okay, I think I have the neck on its own layer, so I'll just adjust it accordingly. And we will let her adjust her head until it is sitting on that neck, right? Okay. I had to think about that one for a second, but I thought the head was just a little bit too thick. Just a little bit. Okay, how is... Her shoulder feels large again. Oh man. The balance between the head and the shoulders is still something I have problems with. Sometimes it takes me a little while, but I would like to try to get these shoulders good before I stop for today. I want to get the balance between the head and the shoulders. I feel like I got the balance between the head and the chest. The chest might be a little bit big now. Maybe the head wasn't that small after all. Because now everything else feels a little bit weird, but this is feeling a little bit better. Okay, yeah, that feels a little bit better. I'm not quite sure how that shoulder should look, but I think something like that should be okay. Okay, let me flip this, and I'll see how it all kind of balances out. Looks pretty good, I think. Maybe I just want her chest slightly lower? Very slightly. I think it's mostly fine. Just gonna stare at this for a second and see how I feel about my proportions so far. I want this to be just a touch long. Just a touch. Okay, yeah, this seems pretty good. We'll see how I feel about him next time. But so far, this seems okay. How do I feel about her facial proportions? Seems alright. The nose, not quite in the right place, I guess, but in terms of how far apart everything is, besides just that, seems okay. Come on, why are you not panning? Krita, why are you doing this to me? Be nice. Okay. Still got a lot to do here, but I think that's pretty okay. Let me go turn on my layers here. Unfortunately, all my lighting is now not exactly right, but that's why I never spend very long getting it right at the beginning, because I know that just by the end, it'll be totally wrong. Just how it is. But I'll go ahead and turn on what I have, so this way I can see the atmosphere. And I might make her eyes glow a little bit too. I think that would be very nice. Okay. Yeah, I think I got something. So, next time, it's gonna be all about the character. But this is where I will stop for today, so we'll see if I can get proportions good and a bunch of stuff rendered out next time. I am excited to work on this one. This one's been fun. So, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.